hundreds of Java developers in the audience, and we're having a little chat and informal conversation, Simon.
Okay, pay no attention to the man behind the camera.
So, welcome to the NightHacking show.
Thank you.
And we love to hear about what interesting people, well, you're interesting, I hope, what folks are doing with Java technology on different platforms and devices, and you look like you have lots of cool toys here.
Okay, so let me ask a question. Who here has heard of the Raspberry Pi? Okay, most people here. Great. So what I've got here is...
All right, wait. So we got to help these guys.
Okay.
So if you notice, the cameras are pointing at us, not you. So raising your hand, no.
No.
Clapping, making noise, yes, that shows up on camera. So
okay.
Let's try that again, Simon.
Okay, so who here, by show of clapping, has heard of the Raspberry Pi?
Quite a lot of these folks.
Great. So as you know, the Raspberry Pi is a very cheap Linux computer. It uses an ARM processor, and it's literally $35 for the whole machine. Now, the great thing about this is that you can do some interesting things in terms of obviously programming it and turning it into various devices and so on. So what I thought was, let's see what we can do with Java running on the Raspberry Pi. So
that's like that Java ME stuff, right?
This is actually running Java SE rather than Java ME because it's that powerful that it can do exactly what you've got.
We do on desktop, we can do on...
Yes. So it's the same actual Java SE JVM, just ported to the ARM processor. And as George announced, we are going to have a hard float implementation, which is going to be available by the end of the year in early access.
Nice.
I have to make sure I say early access. Okay, so what I've done is I thought to myself, okay, so let's kind of use some of the power of the Raspberry Pi, and specifically the fact that it has some GPIO, general purpose I/O connectors available on it. And what I've got here is a Lego motor.
So it looks like your kids built that for you.
Well, I used some of my son's Lego. He hasn't actually noticed that I've borrowed his Lego. He has so much of it that he doesn't notice that a few bricks have gone missing.
So some of your hobbies have rubbed off on your kids?
Absolutely, yes. And what I've done is I've connected the Lego motor to the Raspberry Pi using the GPIO lines. And there's a little bit of circuitry in here which basically converts the TTL logic levels that you get on the lines here into the 9-volt control of the motor. So that's all well and good. But then I thought, okay, so how can we actually do something useful? Okay, maybe not useful, but at least interesting with the Lego motor. And what I've got here is in the USB port connected to the Raspberry Pi is a dongle for this thing.
Now I gotta tell you, Simon, that's not, it doesn't look like that would actually give you good protection in the event of a crash.
No. It's not designed to.
So you can't ride with me on the NightHacking tour with that on your head?
No, I don't think I would want to do that, no. So what this actually is, so if I just hold that up and you can see that, is an EEG monitor. So it actually monitors your brain waves. And I've got this thing about putting things on my head during Keynote presentations. So I'm going to put this on. And what I need to do is I need to connect this to my ear. And hopefully we'll get a good enough signal. This is always the tricky bit, is actually making sure I get a good enough connection, but let's see if we get this to work. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I've actually got this connected, and if I remember to turn it on, which is always the important thing as well, it's now going to start reading my brain waves. And it's going to send information from the sensors to the dongle, and that's going to be read by the Raspberry Pi. So I've written a Java API that just takes the information through a serial port into the Raspberry Pi, processes it, and then sends it to the motor. And the idea there is to, the sensor, the mind wave, actually records various values of different brainwave functions, but it also gives you two values, one of which is the attention that you currently have, and one is your meditation. So what I've done is I've connected it.
So you feel comfortable meditating in front of a room of hundreds of Java developers?
No. So I thought actually the attention would be good. So the idea now is that I'm actually going to control the Lego motor with my mind, in theory. We'll see whether that works. Okay, good, we're still connected. Right, so if I just run the application. Now I just need to make sure that we get a good signal here. And hopefully we'll get a connection. I'm not seeing anything. Oh, there we go. Okay, yep, good, okay. Yep, right, now, So it's now actually reading my brainwaves and turning my attention into a value which is controlling the position of the motor. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my Jedi mind trick to control the motor. It's very difficult to actually do this in front of a very large audience, I've got to say. But essentially that is now using my attention, which is clearly varying.
It's waning now.
It's drifting in and out, you know. Obviously, I've not quite got the Jedi mind trick.
A lot, Simon.
But that is actually working. So if I turn this off, and in fact, let me just take this off and see whether. So hopefully that. Actually, I have to turn it off as well. There we go. So it's not sending random data. That's interesting. Oh no, hang on. No, I know what it is. No, it's. No, I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But anyway.
So I think the epic failure deserves a round of applause.
This is note to self. Never try something new in front of an audience. I've never tried that before.
So this is part of the fun. We don't have an audience. We're just having a private chat on our interview. And so thank you very much for being on the Night Hacking
Okay, thank you.
show, Simon.